Can you hear me now? Yes. You know, can you hear me now? Can hear me. Can. Okay. It's always on Osmo. Anything but Osmo. Anyway, are, uh, can you all hear me? Is the answer yes? Yes. Okay, cool. All right. All right, so here we are. Ah, cool. Welcome to Sunday Night Live. Actually, Monday morning, and it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what we call it. um, no sound still? YouTube, no sound? Hello? Yes, what? Yes, no sound, or yes, there is sound? There is sound. We're not going to fix this. We're going to keep it like this. Don't worry. Next year at this time, we'll still be having this trouble. Anyway, so welcome, and let's get on with it because there's I don't know how many questions. I didn't take a look yet. So, but I just want to remind you all that we do this every Sunday night in on that side of the world, your side of the world, the U.S. and uh, Europe, Africa, I guess South America. But anyway, so it happens at I use Arizona time. I say 5 p.m. because it doesn't. They don't change their clock, and I don't have to think about that. So wherever you are in relationship to Arizona, it starts 5 p.m. in Arizona at on Sunday nights. All right, and um, so we're on all the social medias at Dr. Thomas Lodi, um, whether that's Facebook, Instagram, or any of the CIA funded social media platforms. And the except for X and TikTok, which we're on at Dr. Thomas Lodi MD. Okay, so there's an MD at the end. Other than that, it's all the same. All right, yeah. And just a reminder of what we do here. I'm going to answer questions that were sent in, mailed in. Um, are you a medical director? This is from Atakan Josie. Am I a medical director? I'm a medical director. Yeah, I mean, I'm a director at my clinic in the U.S. What? Why would you want to know that question? Interesting. Anyway, yeah, I'm a medical director there, and I've been medical director here multiple times in Thailand at different clinics that I opened. Yeah. So, but what does that have to do with anything? Okay. Um, so that's how that works. I'm going to answer questions that were sent in, and I really can't. Yeah, I did miss last week Sunday, and I apologize. Koto, koto. Um, I've only missed like 4 or 5 years, so apologize. Um, so that's why we have a format in our groups. And our groups, if you join the groups, the CFC group, which is um, um, probably the largest group, and you have the most benefits, the most um, access, the most information. And CFC, chronically fermenting cells. And for those of you who are just started listening to us here, chronically fermenting cells is the reality of what people call cancer. It's not cancer. There's no such thing as cancer. Cancer is like it's an astrological sign. It's not something that's in your body or anything like that. You don't catch it, and it's not in your genes. Your great grandfather had no, none of that is okay. These are chronically fermenting cells, and they're chronically fermenting cells. Why are they chronically fermenting? Because they have to do that to survive. Okay, everything in biology does what it does in order to survive. That's what it does. All right. Um, and so here I'm looking at all your questions. So your questions are beautiful, and if you could join the lives, I mean, join our groups. Okay, so the CFC group, we meet every Monday and Wednesday at 5 p.m. Arizona time, where we can talk and we can ongoing, like it's like an ongoing consultation. It says, "Whoops, something went wrong. Try reloading the page." Are you trans? Am I trans? What does that mean? Am I trans? What does that mean, trans? Can you explain yourself, Nagara O'Brien Fitzgerald? What do you mean? Am I trans? What? Why does it say, oops, lost transmission? Okay. All right. So anyway, am I trans? I don't know what you mean by that. Trans what? Trans. Am I supposed to know what that means? Maybe if I'm cool, right? I'll know what that means. But if I'm not cool, I won't know what that means. So I'm not cool because I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Am I trans? All right. So, and someone's asking, are there any groups for autism on the health and healing group, right? Which is we meet once every 2 weeks. You get access to all the webinars that we do with no added cost. There's a lot of written content, and we answer all questions. We talk about everything, right? What they're calling autism, the autism spectrum disorder. We talk about that. Yes, whatever is a question you have, we talk about. All right. So there's nothing that we don't talk about. Okay. You just picked your nose live. Thank you. You guys are very bizarre. Oh, he's asking, are you transsexual? What does that mean, am I transsexual? What? Why would you ask such a question? Is this why you came here, to ask bizarre? You just picked your nose live. Okay. My God. Is this the level? You guys are at this level. If you're at this level, we're gonna have a hard time. You're not gonna get much out of this. You probably shouldn't be here. Yeah, you shouldn't be here. If that's the level of your consciousness, asking me things like this. Anyway, Jesus. Health and healing group, where we talk about everything from fasting to diet, to proper diet, to when do you go to sleep? Why do you go to sleep early? What about exercise? What about meditation and prayer? Do any of those things have any value in our lives, and all that? So there's it covers everything. The other one is the parasite group, where we stick with parasites, and that's every other week. So they're on alternate weeks. However, but the parasite group also has automatic is automatically in the health and healing group, so they get to meet every Monday. But CFC group, you meet every Monday and Wednesday. Plus, there's lots of written material and webinars and all sorts of things. But then on Tuesdays you get access to Darren and Vanessa, who Vanessa's a nutritionist, health coach, does everything, teaches yoga, teaches meditation, very, very knowledgeable. I've been working with her for probably 7-8 years now. Same with Darren. Darren's a kinesiologist. He teaches us to move, how to move. Why should we move? All right, so it's all that. Then we're working on getting a new raw food person, so that'll be coming up soon. Anyway, it's what's amazing. Cool from Yangon. What's amazing though is that you actually get to interact, and that I don't see that in any of the other groups. Um, this continuous interaction. There's no, I don't send you like pre-recorded or written things. We get to interact, and that's the beauty of it. So what do I think of Thomas Seyfried's work? You guys gotta join the thing. Thomas Seyfried is fantastic. He picked up the torch of Warburg, and he's doing fantastic work. Yeah. Now, all right. So we're going to get on to the questions. All right. So remember, if the ongoing questions, I can occasionally answer them, but I really can't because I owe it to the people who sent in their questions. And let me see. Let me get this straight here. There we go. Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. So let's go. The your groups, boy. No, they shouldn't be here. Yeah. All right, good. So, and to join the groups, just go to drlodi.com, drlodi.com, and on that's the website, and then you'll be able to join. Okay, so here's the questions. The questions are, first one is from Suzanne, and it's on iodine. And the question is, how much iodine do I want to take? All right, so, good question. By the way, is Instagram dark? All right. I don't know. Forget it. Okay. All right. So that's a good question, and I hope everyone is listening to this, because remember, whatever question we're addressing at the time, it applies to all of us. All right, because listen, we're all living in the same body, same kind of body. Yours might be shorter or smaller or bigger or wider or different color, but it doesn't matter. It's the same apparatus. Okay, basically, fundamentally, it's the same. And psycho-emotionally, we all have the same psycho-emotional needs, right? We do, whether you don't know it or not. We do, and so if we're talking to someone, anyone, it's going to apply to us. So iodine, do we need iodine? Who needs iodine? We all need iodine. Why do we need iodine? What is iodine? Iodine is one of the elements on the periodic table, which gives you a list of all the fundamental elements that make up the physical phenomenal universe, okay? Other than energy. Okay, so all things are made of these elements. And these elements are what we call atoms, right? And each atom, like hydrogen has 1 proton, 1 electron. Helium has 1 proton, 1 electron, and a neutron. So we get into that, and then lithium has 3, and then it goes on and on and on. That's all the only difference between them. All right, so iodine's up there, and it's in a vertical group called halogens, and halogens are bromide, fluoride, chloride, and iodide. Those are the halogens, and they have the same reactivity. They react with transition metals and earth metals. So sodium chloride, salt. We have sodium iodide, sodium fluoride. We have magnesium iodide. We have potassium fluoride. So okay, they all mix. So they all have the same reactivity. So what about iodine? Why is it essential? Because that's how our mitochondria produce energy, so that we have energy. Without them, no cell in the body would make energy. So pretty important in that regard. Number 2, what does it do? It's the thyroid, once it's made, once the hormones exist, one of the main controllers of the immune system. So kind of important. Yes, very important. What else does iodine do? Well, it functions. It has two forms. It's iodide or iodine, and it actually is part of the metabolism of hormones like estrogen. They can uh, help the pathway that iodine is involved with. Um, Helps estrogens metabolize into a healthy form rather than to a form that might not be as healthy. So, but on and on and on. There's much more. It's also antimicrobial. It also directly kills CFCs. So kills. I mean, it also directly flatlines, unalives CFCs. But anyway, it does lots of things. So how much do we need? Well, um, it depends on who you're asking. If you're asking the RDA, which is uh, always a joke because the RDA is enough. They're telling you how much you need to get daily in your life, so that you don't wind up with some end stage deficiency problem. All right, such as scurvy where your teeth are falling out. End stage, but it doesn't tell you how much for optimal functioning. All right, so for optimal functioning, um, and that's what the RDA does not tell you. So how do we know how much we should take? What we do know is this: that Japanese people who eat seaweed pretty much all day long, in all their meals, and they get approximately 13, almost 14 milligrams per day in their diet, had very very minimal amount of thyroid problems, no breast CFCs, no thyroid, prostate CFCs, and a few others. Um, and it's based on iodine. Okay, so now, um, since we don't eat the seaweed, we're not going to get enough. So that's why they started to put iodide in the salt, and they've iodized salt, and they say that I think the RDA is 150 micrograms, which is absurd. Okay, and the reason we say that, well, it's not safe to take them. It's not safe. Well, then why did the Japanese live longer than us? Why is it they didn't get all the CFCs that we get and all that sort of thing? All right. So yeah. Anyway, so you need about about 12 13 milligrams a day. But if you're going to be building, if you're just starting on the journey of restoring health, you want to get extra. So you can double that and take 25 milligrams a day for about a year and a half. And then once you've been replenished the amount, then you can go to your maintenance dose, which is about 12.5 milligrams. And you can get that from Lugol solution, Lugols, or you can get, which they also make it in pill form, or you can get it from iodoral, which uses Lugol solution. All right. Okay. You don't want just the potassium iodide. You want that combination of iodide and iodine. Yes, you want that. Okay. It does so many other things. I'm writing something about it now. I'll be providing it for the group soon. But and I don't know, the medical world doesn't think about it. Now, when you are taking it, it can and will decrease thyroid hormone output. So during that time, you need to be taking some natural thyroid hormone, which is T3 and T4, while you are replenishing your iodine. Once you have enough iodine in your body, then when your thyroid gland goes to make the thyroid hormone, it won't grab a bromide or a chloride or a fluoride because it'll have enough iodine, and then you'll have a healthy functioning thyroid, and it's essential, remember, for everything. So that's what you need, Suzanne. Now Ben says the topic is alternative. Okay, CFC treatment. Ben's still using that word. I'm not sure why you all still use that word. I'm not sure why you use that word. The word is an astrological sign. I want you to tell me another name. I want you to look it up. Join whatever you want, whatever search engine you find. Tell me the definition of the word cancer. Okay, what is the definition of the word cancer? Good morning, Kathy. There is no definition except someone born between June 21st and July 22nd. That's it. All right. But when you hear the word, it's synonymous with death, and it destroys your immune system and everything else. All right. So it's not a useful word, right? It doesn't convey any information. But what's happening? What are we talking about when we see a tumor? What is it? Well, they're chronically fermenting cells. They have to ferment because they can't use oxygen. That's what they are. It's informational. That's why we use that word. So Ben, okay, alternative CFC therapies. Okay, now, so Ben is, you can tell, when the doctor told me I had 3 weeks, maybe, pancreatic CFCs. I won't bother you with the details. We called in the family and got prepared. I looked bad after losing almost 70 pounds in 2 months. I felt bad. The doctor said it was going to be bad, but when asked, he would not prescribe anything for the coming pain because he didn't feel comfortable doing that. Yeah, I mean, he didn't feel comfortable helping you with pain. So somebody should relieve him of his job. All right. So you went to a CFC institute where they did a scope to make certain. A good friend called me and told me about his sister with stage 4 CFCs. You keep using that word, Ben. Come on. Institute where he did a scope to make certain. A friend called me about a sister with stage 4, given only weeks to live, and she's doing fine. He said RSO oil and diet change. After researching RSO, I started doing massive amounts. I have an extremely high resistance with any medication chemical, so the effect didn't last too long as the THC content was high, but so was the other cannabinoids needed. Anyway, that was 4 years ago. The doctors, the CFC doctors can't understand why it has disappeared over a short time. I feel great and I've been on a high protein diet and daily use of RSO I now make myself. Only the dosage has changed. This is my experience and others. I now know personally. I've become less trustful of doctors now. Grow out your own meds and food. Natural is the key. No harmful chemicals. Take store-bought poison out of your lives. Thank you for being one who cares about people and their health. God bless. All right, Ben, thank you. Stop using that word, Ben. Okay, so there's no such thing. Use the word what it is. They're chronically fermenting cells. Okay, so RSO, yeah. For those of you that might not know, RSO, it's Rick Simpson's oil, and basically it's just a particular combination of THC and CBD, and it's usually like at least 4 to 1 of the THC to the CBD. And it's important to get them together. And you can make an oil. So he made an oil because that way it's more concentrated. You can take smaller amounts. If you do it rectally, then it won't be absorbed into your gastrointestinal system. It won't go through your liver, and it won't get turned into a psychoactive substance, so that you can take large amounts and not walk around high all day long. Okay. Yeah. Now this is Wayne. I have high blood pressure and high cholesterol, according to the doctor. I'm a 58-year-old man, and my BP blood pressure with tablets is 140/85. Otherwise, it's 191. What is the best natural protocol? Okay, so Wayne and everyone listening, okay, I hope you're listening and not thinking, well, that's not my question. Anyway, okay. High blood pressure and high cholesterol. Well, first of all, cholesterol is a molecule that our body produces because we need it to live. Okay, it's necessary for life. So we make it. And in fact, all creatures that move around on the earth, called animals by definition, animate, move, animate. Okay, plants don't move around. So that's fundamental difference. There's a lot of people says, we're not animals, we're humans. Well, we are animals. We move around. And by definition, we are. Anyway, Um, we, we we all make cholesterol because it's a necessary part of life. Okay. Now, so therefore you don't need to take it. It's not like a vitamin. We cannot make vitamin C, so we need to get it into our bodies through diet. And if we were eating the diet for which we were designed, then we would be getting lots of vitamin C or ascorbate. All right, but since we don't, we have to take it in pill form or liquid form or some sort of form. Um, right? Okay, so cholesterol is not a vitamin. You don't need to take it. So every time you're eating a dead animal, you're eating that dead animal's cholesterol. So if you've got high cholesterol, it could be that your body's making it and you're eating extra. Anyway, is high cholesterol a bad deal? Is it bad? Is it unhealthy? No. Turns out it's necessary. It's neither bad nor good. It's necessary. If it gets oxidized, it causes problems. But so does everything if it gets oxidized. All right? So what they don't usually test you for is oxidized LDL, which is the low density lipoprotein. It's the form of the cholesterol that is delivered from the liver to the different cells, right? So the whole idea with the cholesterol myth is that you don't want to have you want to have low HDL, high HDL and low LDL, because the HDL is good and the LDL is bad. There's no good or bad in science. There's no good or bad in biology. There's just that which is, and it's necessary. It's not good or bad. It's necessary, but it's necessary in the appropriate amount and balance with other molecules in the body. So it's the balance, it's the harmony that is important. And when that gets disturbed, we have problems. All right. So I'm not sure what you're doing with cholesterol, but one advice I'd have, if it's high and you think that's unhealthy for you, because remember that changes too. They recommended this much, and then it keeps changing what they recommend because they don't know what they're doing. They're just selling pills. That's all they do. Doctors aren't. It's not like they're trying to help you. Don't think the doctor's trying to help you. If there's any doctors out there, tell me what you're doing. Why are you giving poisons to people? And how did you conclude, after all your studies, that poison will make a healthy person a sick person healthy? Okay, tell me again. Poison will make a sick person healthy, right? And that's what you've concluded after all your studies, right? Right. Okay. Well, let me tell you, there's only one way to get healthy, and there's only one road to health. Only one. You can't buy it, can you? Can you demand it? Can you negotiate it? No. What do? You earn it. How do you earn it? By living a healthy life. Is there another way? No. Sometimes on the road to restoring health, we need to use certain medicines for certain things to help us eliminate, for example, anti-parasitic medicines. So there is a need at times for medicines. There is a need at times for surgeries. There is a need at times for radiotherapy. There is a need at times for these other types of therapies, but they're not standard and necessary for everyone, and they should be used minimally and with a specific goal in mind. Like for 2 weeks we're going to do this to accomplish this, and we're going to measure it by doing this. Okay, so anyway, Wayne, what you want to know is, do you have oxidized cholesterol? And you probably do. If you're eating a standard diet, which I'm sure you are, and now blood pressure will go up and down. It goes up and down all throughout the day. If you were to be able to keep a continuous monitoring on someone, you would see it going up and down. And when they're in traffic and angry, it's going to go way up. And then it goes down again when they're relaxed and sitting. And so it goes up and down. Okay. But it can go up permanently if certain things happen to the body, such as the arteries get kind of hard and filled with plaque, or become narrowed, and are not able to dilate, etc. So what does the body do when that happens. When that happens from what? From what we eat. So if you're eating a lot of greasy stuff, you're going to wind up getting plaques in your arteries. And if you get plaques in your arteries and it's narrowed, your body is going to increase the pressure because that's the only way to maintain blood flow. Why do you need blood flow? Because all your organs need to have a certain amount of blood flowing. Otherwise, you die. So otherwise, you stop. You flatline or whatever. I don't know with social media. The fact is that we're always living our lives to make sure that we are obeying the machine. We're obeying the machines. These machines are telling us what to do, and we're obeying them. And you want to make sure that we're obeying them. Why? Because we need those machines. They've made our life a lot easier. Yeah, right. You know how why you say that? Because you weren't alive when we didn't have these machines. If you were alive when we didn't have these machines, you understand this is the opposite. It has made our lives far more complicated and not cool at all. We don't talk to each other anymore. We don't interact. We've become less and less authentic. These machines, which by the way is the beast. The beast. You want to know what the beast is? The beast is the machine. 666. The beast is the machine. This machine that we're all using right now. Machine. I won't go into it. Anyway, let me get back to the blood pressure. So the blood pressure will go up to maintain blood flow because we need blood flow, right? Our brain needs a certain amount. Our kidneys need a certain amount. Otherwise, they stop working. All right, they stop working, and therefore, just as with what we call diabetes, where they put the name diabetes on it if it meets certain criteria, such as a hemoglobin A1C, which is just a test that looks at how much glucose has been stuck to your hemoglobin, which carries your oxygen in your blood. Or they look at your fasting glucose. They don't look at your fasting insulin, which I don't know why, because that's what we're talking about. Insulin and glucose. It's like, but anyway, they don't. I do. Anyway, so diabetes, again, it's happening because you're eating all this, potato, pasta, bread, rice, cake, whatever it is you're eating. If too much glucose, your body becomes resistant to it because it's too much, it's going to kill it. And we call that a disease. And then your blood pressure is trying to make sure that you maintain blood flow. So your body's trying to make sure that, and we call that a disease. We call these compensations, these adaptations that our bodies go through to maintain functional integrity, because we're living stupidly, as we always do. And we're pretty stupid. We're very, very stupid. Humans are very, very stupid. In fact, if a human's doing something that's dangerous for them, but for some reason they like it, they're not going to stop. And you can explain it to me. You say, well, listen, if you continue to do this, it's just going to kill you. Oh, I'm fine. Blah, 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 blah. And we won't do it. So what does a stupid human need? A stupid human needs to have pain and suffering. So pain and suffering was, okay. Right? Why? What are we seeking here? What are human beings seeking? Well, actually the same thing that a single-celled organism is seeking. The avoidance of pain and the seeking of pleasure. That's what we're all about. Tragically, because that's not all we are and our potential, but that we're stuck down there in the lower chakras. That's where we are, in the lower chakras. We're like amoebas. Yeah, pretty much amoebic. Forget reptile. We're not even up to the reptile level. We're amoebas. So, anyway, so you'll notice that all these adaptive processes that the Rockefellers have called diseases to get rid of, it's completely the wrong idea. It's turned reality into some bizarre game, a bizarre story that's not real. There's no disease that you got to get rid of, period. So anything you do with that mindset is not going to help you resolve whatever problems you're having. So anyway, so what is the good right protocol? Is to do a good thorough cleanse, Wayne, a good juice cleanse, colonic therapy, all the things that we always talk about. Clean your body out and then eat real human food and eat that within a 6 hour period. And don't eat the rest of the time to allow your body to assimilate all the food and clean house and all that sort of thing. And stop eating 5 hours before sleep. Right? And then your blood pressure will not be high. Promise you. Will not be high. Now, if you don't want to do that, which it's not that you don't want to, it's that you would probably be, I got to eat every day. We're addicted to eating. We're addicted to smell, taste, chew, and swallow. Smell, taste, chew, and swallow. Smell, taste, chew, and swallow. I got to smell, taste, chew, and swallow. That's what we want to do. We want to smell, taste, chew, and swallow. We shouldn't say I'm hungry. We should say I want to smell, taste, chew, and swallow. We're not hungry. Anyway, so here's the point. If you're eating that way, if you're not going to change your diet, then are there natural things? Yeah, lots of magnesium, garlic. There are natural things that will help dilate the arteries. But again, if you're still producing, if you're still living in such a way that you're producing, that the body is going to do that, and then you're still taking, even if it's a natural substance, to kind of block it, you're still in that same paradigm. You're still in that same unhealthy relationship with your diet, with your lifestyle, with whatever. But yes, high doses of magnesium, throughout the day, 500 milligrams or 1,000 milligrams, 4, 5, 6 times a day. That's very effective. And as I said, garlic is effective. There are many, and you can look these up easily. In any kind of search engine. So there are natural substances, but again, you haven't stopped the underlying problems that are happening, which is why your body's going through all this extra energy and work to try and maintain health or maintain functional integrity, because what you're doing is defeating it. All right, and so we age early. Where do you send the questions? The questions go to drlodi.com, drlodi.com, and you can submit questions there. I think on Instagram and Facebook, I don't know. It used to be that you could submit them basically online, but that's. But I know you can at the website. Now, so, and by the way, Wayne, if you have high blood pressure and high cholesterol, you most likely have some degree of insulin resistance. Absolutely, insulin resistance. Why? Because you're getting too much carbs. You're eating too many carbs. If you don't, then that's kind of amazing, because, and I'm wondering, Wayne, are you overweight at all, or do you have any other concerns, or is it just those two there? But usually these kinds of situations you're talking about go along because they're eating and lifestyle, and they're like not only what you eat, but the frequency with which you eat, and also the volume, frequency, and quality of food. Those are the three aspects of food that need to that when under control. Eating within a 4 to 6 hour window and eating real food, and stopping eating 5 hours before sleep. If we're eating that way, then the results are incredible energy and health and optimism and happiness. Yeah. So you could do that, Wayne, and I would recommend that, because the way things are headed, if you keep doing all that stuff, it just compounds, and your body will need to compensate more and more and more. And finally, we're taking all these pharmaceutical drugs that are not changing the underlying mechanism that's causing problems. They're just making it so we don't notice it as much, right? It's called symptom control. All right. Now here's Mara. She was a CFC member, and I think she's been a member from the beginning. And the topic is breast CFCs. This is not for me, although I could still use support. Someone who was in CFC group but did not stay for financial reasons is in the ER with a painful fungating tumor that has bled enough to make her anemic. I was trying to discourage her from succumbing to CFC treatment, but her situation is dire. She's homeless, Expired visa. What can we offer her, please? Okay, so expired visa, you mean she's in the US on a visa? I think that's what you mean. Or not, or credit card visa? I don't know. Anyway, so she has a large fungating tumor. Well, and she's homeless. All right. Well, the here's the situation, and this is actually a very good question because, um, in other words, what this question is saying is, I don't have the money to pay for other people to treat me. What can I do? And that's fundamentally what we were talking about a moment ago with health is obtained through healthy living, and there's no other way. Not another way. No, not another way. And you have to understand that there's not another way. And I don't think anybody really understands that there's not another way. But shouldn't I take? No, there's not another way. You're not going to, no, there's not another way. I mean, I don't know how to say it other than there's not another way. Anyway, so what this person can do, Mara, of course, is to get really healthy. But it sounds like her financial situation, if she's homeless, where's she sleep? I mean, and cause so she, wow. I mean, she needs help. She needs somebody, some loving, wonderful person who can take her in and give her a chance, because she needs to be in a place where she's not going to be stressed out, and then she needs to be eating like the way we know she needs to do a cleanse. The fungating tumor, I can imagine you're talking about breast, and and as you know, Mara, she's got to, we need to make sure there's no oral dental contribution to this, because those are like directly cause and effect, so we got to make sure of that, and then do some cleansing and stuff like that. But it costs money to buy the vegetables to make juices and the fruit, and so I don't know, but I don't know, and I don't know her condition either. But she's obviously incredibly stressed out. She's got a painful fungating tumor, no money, homeless. This is not. This is it's, you know, we could easily say, well, then fasting would be a really good plan. However, she may be malnourished. She may not be able to fast. I don't know her condition. She may need to, before she would be, where it would make sense for her to do a fast, perhaps she needs to eat some healthy food for a while to get back into a state of health before the fasting. Okay, because the difference between fasting and starving is fasting is when your body still has enough fat, either in your belly and your butt and all that, or on your visceral organ, your organs, and there's enough fat to be used for fuel, so that when you're not eating, and all of that results in the body going around and cleaning up and eliminating tumors and other things, cysts and plaques in your artery. So that's what happens when you're fasting. That's what happens. However, I don't know this woman's condition, so I couldn't say. But really, Mara, you should bring her up to in our groups, and I don't know where she is or where she lives, but maybe all of us could put in a little money and get her a place to live, and help her get some juice, or I don't know. But anyway, so if she could just basically do the good thorough cleanse, you know what I mean, including lymphatic work and all that stuff, do a good thorough cleanse, and then eat healthy food, and turn off your mind, relax, and float downstream. It is not dying, it is being. So, who was that? Well, you know that group. You ever hear that group a long time ago? These four guys from Liverpool. I know a lot of you probably haven't heard of them. But anyway, um, yeah, meditate, and that would be very good. And the reason we meditate, folks, is because if you think it's it's a religion, it's a religious um, um, activity, a religious ritual, a religious ritual, whatever. Um, it's not. It's not. It's a method to turn off your mind, which is impossible without a proper method. You cannot turn off your mind. You cannot stop thinking. You think you're in control of your thoughts? Then stop them. Let me see you stop them for 30 seconds. You can't. All right. So, and the reason we want to do this is because most of our thoughts, like 80% of our thoughts, are negative. And that negativity suppresses our immune system. And it keeps us crazy. It keeps us in a continuous adversarial condition with our internal dialogue. Our internal dialogue keeps us in a state of agitation, a state of adversarial, because that internal dialogue developed, came into existence as we internalize as a reflection of our relationship with those around us. So as a young pre-verbal being on the earth, we were told from the very beginning that we're not good enough and they need to fix us. And they told us that by saying, no, stop, don't, no, stop, don't, no, stop, don't. And here you are, innocent, having no ill intent, malintent. You couldn't possibly. You can't have that because you don't even know what that there's good or bad, and there isn't. And we were warned by El Dios not to eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, but we did. Okay, so here we are. We think this is good, that's bad. This is good, that's bad. This is good, that's bad. So we're in judgment. It's called judgment. But anyway, so a young child doesn't have that yet, and they're just reacting spontaneously. So the no, stop, don't, we have to do it sometimes because they're going to do something that perhaps is dangerous. Why? Because we live in an unnatural world. If we were in nature, it'd be pretty hard unless they were walking near a cliff or something. So anyway, there's that no, stop, don't, that argument becomes internalized, and that's our internal dialogue. And it drives us crazy. And if we can turn it off, we'll find that we are in a place of complete bliss, complete consciousness, and complete knowledge. Where there is no suffering. So, Mara, she could completely resolve all this, but unfortunately, her condition is such that she's like, unless she gets some help, somebody to take away the reality of her life that she's homeless, that she has no. I mean, that is going to causes a level of stress that will suppress her immune system completely. So it's what a sad story. So bring it up in our groups. Let's see if we can do it. Let's fundraise for her. Let's get her a life, okay? And so she can work on healing because she can heal. I've seen it many times. I'm not just saying that. I don't know of any other way. I wish she was homeless in Thailand because you can pick food. It's growing all over. Oh, so sad. So here's Jenny, Parasites, MedSource, Spain. I just wrote the same question to your contact address. I live in Sweden, so I don't know what time we could see your Sunday programs. So please, could you also send me the answer in an email? I'm happy to have found you because I have been searching for help for more than 3 years, and I've been treated like a psycho person at the hospitals, both on El Hierro of the Canary Islands and in Sweden. Luckily, biomagnetism helped me to get away the worst symptoms of worms crawling out of my anus for 3 full moons in a row. Still, it didn't stop completely, and I was much better after a year of eating an anti-parasitic diet that was to starve them out by not eating any cereals, for example. And I'm back to eating now. I feel itching pain again in my anus, so taking where is it? So I'm taking ivermectin, so only, but would like to start taking the 3 other medications that I have heard you are recommending in various clips. Just see how to find them not too expensive. In Spain, where to? I'm heading now for the winter. So this is the question. I'm following you and I have strange things in my anus since 3 years after I lived in the Canary Islands for 6 years and walked a lot of barefoot in my permaculture farm in El Hierro. I tried biomagnetism, which took away my scoliosis in combination with ivermectin. I'm still taking ivermectin. I still have itching coming from my anus. Please, could you help the amount of pills? What medicine should I take? All right. Well, Jenny, all right. So if you have worms coming out of your anus and it's itchy, that pretty much sounds like pinworms. Pinworms are, I think they also call them threadworms, but they're small. For us, they're small, but in their world, they're large. But they're small. They're little white things, and people often see them like moving around in their feces and other things. And the reason you feel itching around your anus is because that's what they live in, the anus rectum. That's where they live. They don't live way up high in the GI tract. And the females come out through the anus and lay their eggs, and that's the itching part. How do you get them? Strangely enough, it's not. It's more of a function of getting it from other people. And what happens is if anything happens where you wind up getting the eggs, which are microscopic, you won't see them, and eating them and ingesting them, that's how you get the pinworms. So yes, you could have it in your food. It could be in food. It could be in water, which is usually the way you get it from someone else. I guess you could get it from different kinds of kissing and sexual practices. You could get it that way, but so it's got to come in through your mouth. So somehow that's what it is. Anyway, but that's what it sounds like. And the treatment, the treatment for this would not be ivermectin. It would be, albendazole or mebendazole, right? Or parental palmate. Parental palmate, I think, is over the counter. I hear. I don't know in the U.S. I'm not sure. Does anybody know? Is it over the counter? Excuse me. But if it's albendazole, you take 400 milligrams twice a day. 3 weeks on, 1 week off. 3 weeks on, 1 week off. 3 weeks on, 1 week off. The standard the prescription written by the robot warlock doctor, the white-coated warlock, which would be take 1 pill today and then 1 pill next week, or 1 pill in 2 weeks. Okay, why did they write that? Because that's what they were told to write. Because they didn't think about it or study it. That's just what they were told to write. And if the doctor wrote for anything more than that, the pharmacist would say, all right. Um, and that's why you don't go to doctors and you don't go to pharmacists. You go to compounding pharmacies and you deal with people that are um, do not follow the Rockefeller program. Now, Rockefeller did really a thorough job. All right, so once the Flexner Report came out in 1910, 1911, he enforced it. Yeah, he enforced it by um, um, either taking away the licenses or destroying the lives somehow of the doctors who would not go along with it. Some of them were killed, even destroyed them. Gave lots of money to all the universities for only teaching that way of medicine. Yeah, that's what he did. Teaching. So you can, Dr. K says you can get the parental palmate over the counter. That's very cool. All right. Um, and the dose, according to them, is 11 milligrams per kilo, but you can do 750 for most adults. But again, twice a day. Do all these twice a day. 3 weeks on, 1 week off. 3 weeks on, 1 week off. And by the way, if you have pinworms, they live in ecosystems. You're going to have other parasites that you're not aware of, and you have just an extreme dysbiosis. So since you're going through this, it would be wise to take, like you were. I think you were referring to taking several anti-helminthics, which helminth is the word for worm, and at least one or two anti-protozoals, which are the single-cell organisms like amoeba and giardia and stuff, and then an antifungal. And again, 3 weeks on, 1 week off. 3 weeks on, 1 week off. Why? Because these guys lay thousands and hundreds of thousands of eggs. And if no matter how good you are, so that's what they do. When in the conventional world, when they say take one now and then one again in 2 weeks, so you can get all the eggs after they hatched. They're just like, I went to medical school. I got a degree. I don't know shit, but these guys are absurd. If you're a doctor out there, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me how I'm wrong exactly. All right. So you take one pill, and then whether 1 week or 2 weeks, I don't remember. Later, you take another pill to get, because now those eggs have hatched. I see. Okay, let's say that one pill got rid of all of them. Now the ones that hatched, do you think they? No. Do you think they might have laid eggs too? Oh no. Doctor, don't think. You know what I said? Don't think. All right? Just repeat. 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 Yeah, anyway, so it's absurd. It's not even absurd, it's just pure evil. Okay, so anyway. So you need to take either the parental palmate or the mebendazole and albendazole, and you can and get that. So the mebendazole, they say 100 milligrams. I would take 500 if you can get it, but whatever, 100. But do that 3 times a day, and then you're going to take the other ones. Take an ivermectin because you're already taking it, and then take either niclosamide or prostacyclin. Niclosamide makes more sense. 500 3 times a day, and you do these for 3 weeks on, 1 week off. 3 weeks on, 1 week off. How many cycles? You'll know 6, maybe 6 cycles. And you got to always be taking liver support, which is alpha lipoic acid, 400 or 500 milligrams 3 times a day. You'll be taking thiamine, like at least 100 milligrams 2 to 3 times a day. You'll be taking milk thistle or silymarin or silybinum 3 times a day, 500 milligrams 3 times a day. Those are the 3 fundamentals. You can also take NAC and acetylcysteine, which upregulates your ability to produce glutathione, which is the most ubiquitous and fundamental detoxifying enzyme in our bodies, and especially the liver. Yeah, so especially the liver, right? So you do this support for your liver while you're taking that. So you should do that. Join the parasite group so we can talk about it. All right, because there's other things to talk about besides just that. You've also got to be living a healthy life. There's a lot of things you've got to be doing. It's not just taking medication. All right. Right. It's like the person who has headaches because they keep banging their head on the wall. So they got some good drugs to get rid of the pain, but they keep banging their head on the wall. Hmm. Hmm. Well, what do you think, doctor? Should we tell them not to bang their head on the wall? But if we tell them not to bang their head on the wall, man, they're not going to come back anymore. We're going to lose business. Anyway, so Jenny, and by the way, your scabies went away because of ivermectin. Ivermectin is good for uh, helping scabies go somewhere else. And if anyone has scabies or something like that, you can take it both orally and topically. All right, here's Gail. My daughter has severe neuropathy. At least that's the way it started a few years ago. Numbness, burning, and pain. She now can walk only with a walker, and even that is difficult. She is also losing the use of her hands, and at times her face is numb for weeks at a time. We've gotten help from the mainstream doctors. We've gotten no help from the mainstream doctors or neurologists. She weighs only 90 pounds and is about 5'5". She is 38 years old and unfortunately was vaccinated. We are at a loss what to do. It is torture to seeing her deteriorating. I have obtained an herbal protocol for parasites, but she doesn't want to start it until she feels stronger. Can you give us some direction? Okay, so Gail, all right, so now when you're saying numbness and tingling, I'm assuming you mean hands and feet, or hands and or feet. And then you said also facial. She gets some facial numbness, and burning and pain. So those are all what you feel, what are called symptoms. What your experience when we have a peripheral neuropathy. What does that mean? Peripheral neuropathy. Peripheral means outside on the outside, and central and peripheral, right? So your central nervous system is your brain and spinal cord, and then your peripheral nerves are the nerves that go out into your limbs and all over. Just so you understand the terms. Okay, so she's got a peripheral neuropathy. So people are usually referring to the hands and feet. Now we know that drugs can cause that, such as chemotherapy, but there are other things that can cause damage to the nerves. And then you say she was vaccinated. Well, no one in the world has ever been vaccinated because there's no such thing. They've been injected with whatever they're using, but because the implication of the word vaccination is I guess, an artificial way of developing an immune response that would be that would help you not be overwhelmed by something. I mean, that's the whole idea of a vaccine. But there's no such thing. There's never been the case. It just doesn't work. And anything you read about it is a lie. And Louis Pasteur was a lie, complete fraud. And so the germ theory is a lie. But anyway, I don't mean to go off too much, but so she wasn't vaccinated. She was injected with the bioweapon, and I think you're referring to the great hoax of 2020. And if you are, then that's really, that's clearly what got all this going. Because I'm assuming the way you wrote this, that she must have developed this peripheral neuropathy after the injection. It's now you're focusing on parasites, which is I mean, that's part of the regimen of cleansing, but it's not the focus. All right. So, what do we know about peripheral neuropathies? What actually helps them? Well, actually, what helps them, and there's lots of research to back this up, is vitamin B1, B6, and B12. All right, um, in combination with alpha lipoic acid. It's very, very good, right? Um, and the and I would take high doses of these things. All right, so this it actually helps with the the pain. So the alpha lipoic acid actually will help regenerate the nerves. It's a powerful antioxidant, and it also actually helps with relieving the pain. And you can take 400 3 times a day, and then if you can afford it, you go get IVs of it as well. But um, but you don't need it. If you're taking it orally, get a good quality, and take with that thiamine because it's necessary with it. Thiamine is B1, right? Which you're going to be taking anyway. So take a lot of it. Take 100 milligrams 3 times a day, 4 times a day, or 200 milligrams. Same with B6, and the same with B12. All of these are involved in the functioning of the nerves. All right, so I mean, and this has helped even with people who have peripheral neuropathy from diet, from diabetes. You know, diabetes, you can wind up getting peripheral neuropathy. So it actually is very effective. Now the other things, and of course, no one's going to tell you this. If you were to look it up, by the way, everyone who thinks that Chat GPT is or any of those guys are, by the way, goes back and look at the video that we made called "Undeclared War." Go watch it because nobody watched it. I don't know why, because it was before everybody else. I mean, I always do that. I say things and then no one's, or they think I'm insane, and then sometimes later everybody's talking about it. Anyway, go back and watch that Undeclared War. You'll find it in the archives of Facebook or Instagram or whatever. But anyway, AI, these artificial idiots, do not answer questions. They're not there to provide information. They're there to control. They're there to take away. In other words, they're there. They're asking for you to hand over your mind, and that's what you've done. You've handed over your mind to them. You're no longer making decisions about anything. No critical decisions. You're going to ask that artificial idiot. And they did it, right? They did it. They did it. Why? Because we are fundamentally seeking pleasure, avoiding pain, and lazy. Lazy. For the most part. Not all of us, but and so yeah, hey man, if I can just push a button and I don't have to get up to turn I don't want to get up. You mean to get up and actually go over there and do it? Oh my god, what are you talking about? So so we're just so we call it convenience. Anyway, anyway, I don't want to get too far away from this. So the B complex and all that. Now they want. But the reason I was saying that is because Chat GPT, for example, I don't know exactly what Chat would say, but let's say you said okay, peripheral neuropathy. What should I do? And it would probably say it would talk about gabapentin and all these drugs. In other words, it gives you the first answer it's going to give you is pure. It's the story. It's nothing to do with the truth. And yes, it only has access to that which is published, and of course, what's published. Think about who are the editors, what's they're publishing. Anyway, they're selling drugs. So that's That's in general what they're going to say. They're not going to tell you that the combination of B1, B6, and B12 plus ALA, and then I'd also take NAC. I do a few and clean your life up. And all this stuff you would do, and this would resolve. It would resolve unless it is being caused by some sort of mechanical, compression or something that you're not aware of, or are aware of, or it's being caused by systemically by something you're taking in terms of medicines or something like that. It's hard to know, exactly what's going on in your particular case because I don't know, and that's why if you join the groups, I would say, hey, I would talk to you, and we could kind of I could find out more about this particular situation and help with it, give some advice. But at this point, I'm talking to a very general concept, right? And but anyway, in the sheath, the myelin sheath around these nerves, which allows them to conduct quickly, is made in large part by cholesterol. Oh my God. Yes, cholesterol. It's bad for you. Mm-hmm. So is oxygen. Anyway, now, what they're not going to tell you is that hyperbaric oxygen. That's right. You get into a chamber, which puts a lot of pressure, and for this, it's great if you can get up to 2.0, but at least 1.8, 1.4 is cute, but it's not going to help. You need to get up to a height, and you do this, and it's got to be consistent, at least 5 days a week for a while. But hyperbaric oxygen is going to force oxygen into these nerves and help them heal. They regenerate. Oxygen is it's a magic molecule. You can put that together with another molecule called H2O, and pew, you've got something called life. Of course, you need spirit in there, but I'm just saying it's the mechanism by which the spirit can be involved into matter. Yeah. Hyperbaric oxygen works, and so does ozone therapies. Ozone, that's quackery. No, it's and it's not quackery. Well, I guess it is, because you understand that Rocky and the boys was able to money, that was able to get Congress, our elected officials who represent us, to pass the whole thing with that all the alternative methods, meaning non-drug, non-synthetic pharmaceutical methods, is quackery. As if it's so, and before that word existed, what is quackery? Well, a duck quacks, whack whack. All right, so I don't even understand the connection. What does that mean? It's a duck. So whatever. But what I'm telling you is that if you're going to go see a doctor and they're not on the quack watch list, don't go see them. That is like a credential that you need to have. You need to be considered a quack. I'm serious. Because the truth is that they're quacks. They're quacks because they think, or they want you to believe, that if you are sick and you take a poison, you're going to be better. That's what they want you to think. That's not, my definition of quackery is that would definitely qualify. So anyway, so it turns out that ozone, hyperbaric oxygen, these B vitamins, cleansing, sleeping right, there's a lot of things to do. It's not just, can I take because we're always saying, what we look for, if we have a problem, what pill can I take? That's because we grew up with Rockefeller. And that's the idea. Every pain, every itch, every bad thought, everything it can be eliminated by a pill. Or a shot. That's the way we think. And it's completely transformed us. All right? It has so powerfully transformed us. But anyway, whatever is causing this situation has to be identified and removed. Secondly, these things, a cleansing and all that sort of thing. If you can afford hyperbaric oxygen and or ozone, do it. And if you can't, you can at least take the alpha lipoic acid, the thiamine, and the B, B1, B6, and B12. But you could also just take a B complex that has all the Bs, including B5, B3, with niacin. All of those stuff in it, like 100 milligrams of each, and take one or two, 3 times a day. Just take a lot of it and take a lot of ALA. Yes. But you got to clean your body up and you got to get rid of the reason why you had it. Okay, Gail. I promise you this works. But I also, the thing about chat, I still understand chat, you're going to, unless you know a subject very well where you can lead Chad to do the real research, and unless you know that real well, you're going to believe what they say. So they're now, do you realize what they've done now? They've actually convinced us. Out of convenience, they're taking away the last bit of, when they said, by 2030, you're going to own nothing and be happy. Yeah, you're not going to even own your mind, your thoughts. We are relinquishing the sovereignty of our mind, of our thoughts. So they don't. This war against us does not require guns or high energy or direct energy weapons or anything. We're volunteering. And I know that most people that were born, well, definitely after the year 2000, but are probably think, well, hey, why not? If I can get a chip and be smarter, and sure, why not? Well, why not? All right. So most, we're volunteering. What can you say? All right. Here we go. Parasites, another one. Topic. The name is Sean. A lot of parasite questions. We're not getting as many CFC. I wonder what. I saw you on TikTok. I am all the way in the Caribbean. Thanks for helping. I've been sick for many years, more than 10. I'm 33 years old. Recently, I discovered, though, on a health scan, that is parasites and bacteria. I wish to do a protozoa cleanse. In addition, and advice on treatment, myopia and floaters. I'm kindly requesting your advice with this matter. The full protocol items and medications needed for treating and eliminating parasites, worms, and protozoa, and bacteria. Thanks in advance. Okay, Sean, first of all, understand something. When you say you want to get rid of bacteria, I think you must be thinking something else, because bacteria are microorganisms that keep us alive. They keep the world happening. They're, without them, we wouldn't have. There would be no life. That's their. So, but it's your question. Tells me that you're fully entrenched in the germ theory, as most people are, and that bacteria are bad, and we got to get rid of them. And it's not any. And when we use the word germs, which is pejorative, it's a pejorative term. Germs, the germ, because a germ implies negative. It's bad, and you got to get rid of it. But without the microorganisms, we wouldn't live for 1 minute. And they're everywhere on the earth, except for one spot in Ethiopia, in a special kind of well. They are they exist up to 70 kilometers above the surface of the earth. They exist down 2 kilometers in the ocean. There is no place where they are not. All right. So what you're probably meaning is you want to reestablish a healthy relationship of all the bacteria and other microorganisms that are in your body and on your body. That makes sense. And now the reason of getting rid of parasites too is because now there some of these protozoa and some of these not the worms, but some of the protozoa are part of our natural normal healthy flora. So not necessarily in that regard they're not parasites, because the definition of a parasite, remember, is an organism that is benefiting from you, and you are suffering or being harmed by them. All right, that's the definition of it. So if you have an organism living in or on you that's not causing you harm, but it's benefiting, that is not a parasite. Or if you have an organism in you, like we do, in and on us, they're benefiting and we're benefiting, that's not a parasite. Okay, so it's not just the microorganism, it's our relationship with them. All right, now you said you also have myopia and floaters. Okay, so those are not related to parasites. I mean, floaters could be, there's some, some tropical parasites like loa loa and stuff that can, cause visual disturbances and stuff, but that's usually not what's happening in your case. So what it sounds like though, Sean, is that you've been sick for many years, and you were where you were recently, where even the Caribbean, and you've been sick for 10 years. So the first thing you got to do, Sean, is you've got to clean up your body. You've got to do a good thorough cleanse, a juice cleanse and or water fast for a period of time to clean out. And I'm talking about weeks. So I do a juice cleanse for 2, 3, 4 weeks if you arrange it. And juice, we mean fruit, vegetables with enough fruit to make it taste good. And if any of you are listening in our groups, I saw some writing. If you're in the groups, you have Telegram groups, and so each group has their group. All their members are involved in Telegram, and there's lots of incredible discussions and help. But I saw there someone mentioning that it was really hard to do the juice fast and all that, juice feast and nauseous and all that thing. Well, that's because you weren't making it delicious, and I always say that, so I'm not sure how you don't hear it. You make it delicious. Yes, celery, cucumber, spinach, and kale, and lemon, and then something sweet like apple. It's fundamental recipe, but you can modify that. But you want to put enough of the apple or pineapple with strawberries, whatever you put in the fruit, to make it not good, delicious, that you look forward to it. Because if it's not delicious, it's not good for you, because you will feel deprived and your immune system will be suppressed. So any benefit you might get is being counteracted, number one. Number two, if you are happy and you are enjoying it, that is an immune boost, an immune enhancement. All right, so that has to go along with it. So you make it delicious, whatever you need to do, and don't worry about whatever you think about. We'll talk about it another time, the glucose and all that stuff. Don't worry about it. Don't make it too much, but make it enough so that you love it. And then you'll be able to drink it. Okay, you don't drink it, you don't make it so that it doesn't taste good. So Sean, that's what you need to do. Understand? You've got to do a really thorough cleanse. And then as far as protozoa, if you go to the website, there's some information. You can see a lot of my videos. I've talked about it. If you join the parasite group, again, you can get a hold of the protocol. So, but there's not the protocol. These protocols are templates or are foundational. You have to adjust it according to your particular situation. Whether your liver is functioning and all that. So you've got to understand it. So you want to have a healthy liver. You want to have healthy liver function because all of these medications require the liver to be neutralized, and as a result, um, our the liver can be strained. All right, but so okay, but so the antiprotozoals are nitazoxanide, 500 milligrams 3 times a day. They are also tinidazole, same thing, 100, 200 milligrams 3 times a day. And then there's metronidazole, again, 500 milligrams 3 times a day. Those are the three main antiprotozoal. And then there are the antihelminthics, the worms, and that would be ivermectin, fenbendazole, mebendazole, albendazole, one of them. Niclosamide, parental palmway, praziquantel. There's different ones, and you've got to kind of find. So you need 3 of the antihelminthics that we were just talking about, and at least 1 or 2 of the antiprotozoals and an antifungal. Antifungals would be like diflucan, nystatin, itraconazole, or stuff like that. And you're going to need a cooperative doctor and pharmacist, which is really hard to find since they work for Rocky. So there are pharmacies, there are places where you can go online and without having a white coat sanction it and authorize it, you can get these medications. And so if you join our groups, the parasite group, that will allow you to we in our resource section we have all these places that you can go to online and obtain these medications, have them sent to you. We also have labs you can go to without requiring again a white coat signature, so that you can check your liver enzymes before you even start and all that. So there's so many benefits to. Wait a minute, what happened to I can't see you guys. All right. Viewer. Okay, there we go. Interesting. So, what's the best? Same things with peptides. There's a place to go online. There's several places in the U.S. to get peptides. So, and what you can do is, also if you, we can help you if you go to hello@drlodi.com, drlodi.com. We can help you get these things too. I bet I'll live longer than you. Inappropriate daughter, 847. You bet you'll live longer than me. I hope you do. I mean, it sounds like it's really important for you to live longer than me because you're stating this publicly. And so I'm not sure what's wrong, why you would say such a thing. Are you having problems? Are you unhappy, inappropriate daughter? Not a happy person, huh? Oh my gosh. And if you live longer than me, then your life was worth something. That's what you got to do. That should be your goal. Okay. I mean, even if it's 5 minutes longer than me, you got to live longer than me. So do it. Go for it. Okay. Oh my gosh. Good. All right. So we, by the way, Undeclared War was posted in the comments section. So you guys should watch it. Okay. It's about AI and it talks about the rollout in 2024. They did it. It's done. I bet I'll live longer than you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Open an appropriate daughter. I hope you live longer than me. Because that means, you know what that means. I mean, that means, yeah, I know what that means. That means, yeah, I almost know what that means. Oh, inappropriate daughter. So sad. What is the perfect diet? Jason, you're asking what is the perfect diet? I have a whole series of webinars on the human diet, and you can find them. They're available on drlodi.com. Okay, so anyway. Let's get back to questions. So, Sean, I hope you understand. You can get rid of these parasites, but you need to also, and you have to. Everyone has to remember, it's not just the parasites because they're there because they've got a home. They're being fed. They got all that stuff. You've got to make yourself as healthy as possible so that they don't need a home. I mean, so that you are not a fun place to be. You got to get really healthy, and your immune system will be powerful too. And then, of course, you might have to take these antiparasitics. And then there's also, if you're really extremely healthy, you can use some of the herbal products. And Hulda Clark has a really superb uh, protocol of different herbs. Very, very well done and researched. Yeah. All right, so this is Teresa, and again, it's on parasites. Wait, no more CFCs. What's happening? Hello, Dr. Lodi. I got back to the U.S. from Nepal about 2 weeks ago. A day or so after I returned, I got bloating, gas, nausea, low energy, reduced appetite, and green poop. So after a couple of weeks, I'm not feeling better. I went to the clinic in the U.S. hoping for a stool sample and medication. The doctor on site gave me Cipro, saying he really doesn't know about my problem and to see a GI specialist. I suspect it may be Giardia. Should I get some parasite medicine? I do not have health insurance. All right. Well, hey, Teresa, this is madness. You want to see a doctor and they gave you Cipro and told you they don't know anything about it, so they're going to give you. So they give you an antibiotic. You see this? Do you realize that is actually considered standard? It's okay to do that. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Now, parasites, what's going on? I mean, there's so many things that could be causing bloating, gas, nausea, and low energy, reduced appetite, and green poop. I don't know. If you're eating if you're a good vegan, vegetarian, your poop will be green anyway. But it sounds like yours is not. Yours is more from like not being well. And the bloating and gas are the same thing, nausea, low energy. So yeah, absolutely could be parasites and many other things. Sounds like you need to do a good thorough cleanse. Absolutely. That's number one, Teresa, do a good thorough cleanse. Now, I was in Nepal and I got, so you thought it might be Giardia. Yeah, Giardia is a protozoa. I got another protozoa when I was there. It's entamoeba. You've heard of amoebic dysentery. I got that way back when. When did I go? I was in 1971. And I don't know. I really don't remember ever being sicker than that. I mean, I was vomiting and diarrhea. I mean, just like in a nightmare. I remember being. I remember we went from we were in like Nepal. Wound up going. I don't know how we got to Pakistan. I remember being in Pakistan on a bus, and I was so sick I was lying on the floor of the bus. And then when the bus stopped, I just kind of rolled out. I was really sick, so I get it. I get it. But anyway, so I don't know what's causing your situation. I know the bloating and gas probably, is meaning you're not digesting properly, and the bacteria, the microorganisms in your gut are producing a lot of excess gas. And if you're like most of us, you have pockets of gas and feces, gas, feces. You know, our colons are incredibly. I don't even know. It's like, I mean, there must be a metaphor, but I can't grab it right now. But anyway, I just want you to imagine. So we have 1.5 meters, which is about 5 feet of colon. The rest of our intestines is called small intestine. But, um, you know, which is what, 8.5 meters or 25 feet. Anyway, um, but the colon has got feces, gas, feces, gas, feces, gas like this. And things aren't moving around. They're just sitting there. You can imagine what that is in there. And there's no oxygen, so they're anaerobic, and these are organisms, and they're just mutating. There's all kinds of stuff going. So when there's an old expression that they know that word, it sounds like dearth. You know, dearth having a little. It sounds like not birth. Anyway, I'm not supposed to use that word, but when there's a flat line on the EKG, right? Okay, they say D begins in the colon, and indeed it does. Indeed it does. That's where we start to get sick. Okay, so now, because of that, and you got to remember, the colon has veins that drain it, right? Arteries bring blood, veins drain it, bring it back, drain it back to the right side of the heart, and it goes around circulation. And also 10% of the drainage from all tissues goes via the lymphatic system. But anyway, the veins in the colon and all the gastrointestinal tract all come together, and they coalesce into one large vein called the portal vein, which goes right back into the liver. Why? Because the liver needs to get that's its job, is to neutralize, detoxify. So it does that. It detoxifies what you've eaten and all that stuff. So keep that in mind. And there's something called the enterohepatic circulation. Entero refers to the your gastrointestinal system, your intestines. Hepatic, it refers to liver. So the enterohepatic circulation is every 4 minutes. So in other words, every 4 minutes, the blood from your colon and the rest of your intestines goes to the liver through the portal vein. The liver detoxes it and then squirts it out in the through the bile, which enters into the GI tract, and it kind of gets, it's in a cycle. So every 4 minutes, your liver gets a wave of sewage. Now, getting a wave of sewage means that your liver has now got to, imagine. I mean, your liver is dealing with everything that you're eating, all this new stuff, and whatever you've gotten into your skin or anything that gets in your circulation. But in addition, it has to keep recycling this sewage, and we're keeping it very busy. And then, like 2/3 of our immune system is also in that GI tract. So the immune system. So our immune system and our liver are being challenged big time just from having a dirty colon. All right, so you got to clean it out. All right, you got to do enemas, colonics, and do some cleansing, and just clean that colon out, because in there is the beginning of the final spiral. All right, so so that's what you got to do. So Teresa, I know our mindset, we grew up this way, the Rockefellers, is our mindset, I don't feel well, I need to go to somebody to fix me. And because we don't grow up with the wisdom of our elders, that's been abandoned. It's been considered quackery. So we don't have the wisdom of our elders. We don't have all that. What we have is Scientific knowledge, as if it meant anything. Scientific knowledge is, this is where people think, okay, Lodi, what are you talking about? It's wrong, not useless, evil. Science has become the religion of planet Earth. Yeah. You get sick, you don't go to your rabbi or your priest or your minister or your whatever, or your monk. You go see a white coat freak, and they give you poisons. I mean, that's religious, man. You got to really have a lot of faith to think that poison's going to make you healthy. So you're going to go. So anyway, what I want you to do, Teresa, is don't think in those terms. Think in, say, okay, look, I don't feel well. I've got all these problems, and they all seem to be inside my gut, right? Bloating and gas and nausea, and of course I don't have energy, and my appetite's not good. Perfect. Your appetite's saying, don't eat. Do a juice cleanse or a water fast, and get your colon cleaned out. I promise you, you do those things. I promise. Okay. All right. So I promise you that if you do these things, you're going to be better. And then afterwards, you can take antiparasitics, because there's no doubt you have parasites. We all do. But initially, clean out. So gas, bloating, nausea, and no appetite. That means don't eat. Just drink a lot and just pee it out until you're peeing out of all ends. That's what you've got to do. And that'll happen. What we're talking about is our relationship with ourselves. To develop an intimacy with yourself. Now, I know we don't like to be alone. We don't like to be alone. We even got to sleep with people. We can't be alone. But we need to be alone. We need to be alone for multiple reasons. But one of them is to know us, to know you, to listen to you, to understand you, that in the only way that you can. The only way, no one can know you the way you know you. But most of us avoid knowing ourselves. Most of us are looking into someone else's eyes to get an understanding of who we are. We look into other people's eyes to see if we're cool or not. And if you've got like some kind of, I don't know, name or money or something, then they're looking at you like you're cool, and you're going to think you're cool. I mean, it's really, really bizarre. But I'm talking about, how do you feel? Like, and what are your thoughts? Did you ever go inside of yourself and try to understand what it is you're really feeling and thinking? Because when we're bouncing our minds off of other people and they're bouncing back, well, that's just ping pong. We have no idea what we're doing. This is mental ping pong. We're all doing it. It's just a game. But to really get inside, that's why we go to therapists, because we think we're going to get into our into stuff. Because why? Because we know the therapist is not there to play ping pong. The therapist is there to help. And usually, a good therapist is going to help you understand what you're thinking. They're not going to, so like they have the answer. Because you're not going through these efforts to get the answer. You're going through these efforts because you want to change, because you want to be happy. So, and it's a process. But anyway, by becoming intimate with ourselves, we should know how we feel. We should know and respect it, and then follow it and listen to it. So your body is telling you, oh, I don't feel good and I don't want to eat. Okay. Got it. Drink a lot. I think you are very old. Right. I am very old. You're right. Thank you for thinking that. Bizarre. You guys are bizarre. Anyway, really weird stuff. Am I trans? Was I a medical director? I'm old. You're gonna die. I'm gonna die before you. Weird. You know, it's kind of, many years ago I was in something called junior high school. Is that kind of what I feel like? I'm in junior high here. All right. So, anyway, becoming intimate with yourself is understanding what you're really feeling and what's really going on, and come to know it. You should know. You shouldn't have to go to somebody else to ask them how you are. You should know how you are. And then remember, one of the greatest impediments to being balanced and healthy and happy, and having our mind, body, spirit in harmonic resonance, is by meditating. Meditating is learning how to stop thinking. When you stop thinking, then divinity shines through. But anyway, so Paris, so Teresa, time for the cleanse. Don't take any Cipro, right? And if you suspect Giardia and all those things, first clean out, and then you can get for Giardia. And what treats Giardia? Metronidazole, tinidazole, or nitazoxanide that we talked about. That also treats entamoeba if it were an amoebic. But if it was an amoebic dysentery, you'd have a different set of symptoms. But whatever. That's what would treat the the anti-protozoals, but you also want to do the anti-helminthics. Okay, now another one. This is Stacy, and I'm dealing with metastatic breast CFCs. Yes, Stacy, you said it. Everybody else is saying that other ridiculous word. Beautiful, Stacy. I'm on fenbendazole 222 grams, you mean milligrams, twice a day. Ivermectin 12 milligrams 3 times a day. I can't get niclosamide because the company Niclosam is no longer shipping to the U.S. I take other supplements also. I'm on Nerlinks and Sepsidabine, and I eat healthy. I'm in Michigan. A few days ago, I had 3 new lumps pop up. 2 near my lower neck area and 1 at my lower chest area, above my right breast. Mostly near center of chest. That area is very sore. What am I missing? Saw the oncologist today, and he said it's probably progression, which I let him know I'm being positive and God is healer. I'm getting a PET scan on Tuesday. I had a lump come up in April this year that never went away, same area. Everything is on the right side. Now I have 4 lumps. The oncologist said there are lymph nodes. There are lymph nodes, but the one on my chest is probably a mass. Dr. Lodi, what am I missing? Why is this happening? The tumor in my breast seems to be a bit different for the better. I've read Jane McClellan's book, but still don't know what pathways to block, although I have some blocked. Unfortunately, I can't afford to join any of your groups at this time. Hopefully they will become more affordable, so I have to just hope you get my letter. I try to watch all your videos. I appreciate what you say. Lastly, do you know any other place where I can get my niclosamide? Okay, good. So, Stacy, great, fantastic. Okay, all right. So, good news. I mean, for you, good news. First of all, now you told your oncologist that God is your healer, right? And I wish that were true, because if that were true, you wouldn't be going to the oncologist. So you got to stay away from those guys, ladies, guys, whatever. And then most people think, well, I need them because I need to get my blood test. No. You can get, any doctor can order that stuff. Anyway, but okay. And sepsidabine is chemo, yeah. So, okay, so you have breast CFCs, and I guess, and so these lumps are on your chest, and I'm assuming the breast CFC is in your right breast. Now I don't. You see. This is why, Stacy, being in our group, we could have a discussion. Now you can afford the Health and Healing group. The Health and Healing group is $25 a month, I think, and you get, every other week we can go consult. It's like a consultation. Anyway, so what I don't know is what you've gone through already. Have you had surgery, or have you had chemotherapy? Have you had radiation and all that sort of thing? I just don't know. However, lumps that pop up on the chest, there are, and they're usually firm, and they're not that big usually. They're like these little hard balls, like and they're kind of usually they feel fixed, and they're like dermal implants of tumor, and it can easily go there. And that happens, mostly when they do surgeries or biopsies and things like that. Now, in addition to all the other stuff, now I don't know, Stacy, if you've been doing all of this correct, like rationally. Have you done a cleanse? Have you gone to a biological death? You've got to be doing all these things. Because remember, the beginning of the journey to health is to get rid of the garbage, the waste. You've got to clean out the waste, because it's the cumulative effect of waste over time that has an effect on our cells that causes them to need to start fermenting in order to survive, because we knock out the ability to use oxygen. Really, that's what we do. All right, so you've got to get rid of all the garbage, and you can do that. And you don't need any money. And you need less money because you're not going to eat. You can just drink a lot of water or make yourself juices. But you've got to cleanse out. You've got to clean your colon. You can buy an enema bag. Do an enema. You don't need to go to a colon therapist. Do an enema. Learn how to do saltwater enemas. Okay, this is the beginning of the journey to health. That's the beginning of the journey to health. And it also is necessary all along the way to periodically do it, because even though we detoxify, we go through a detoxification process, the next day we're toxifying again. Life is toxic. All right. No, it's not 3 weeks on and 1 week off forever. No, it's for 5 cycles, 6 cycles, whatever. And then you annually do 1 or 2 cycles. Depends on your situation. But no, it's not forever. Yeah, your oncologist says lymph nodes all over your chest. No, you're right. Oncologist says, don't go. Anyway, we've got to give doctors a new name. Oh, we did. They're called warlocks and witches. Yeah, remember, the warlock is the male and the witch is the female. Yeah, and they have white coats and they practice sorcery, because they diagnose. Okay, anyway. Oh, I'm not going to go into that right now. But I just want you to understand something. You, Stacy, need to cleanse. You need to see a biological dentist. You need to get rid of all these toxins. I don't know what treatments you've had and all that sort of thing. All right? But to go to the oncologist and ask them anything means you still are in that paradigm of, you got the disease, it's called, and that's not what's going on. You've been tapped on the shoulder. You've been anointed by God, who is saying to you, Stacy, the path you're on is a little bit shorter than you would like. So just make a right-hand turn here. That right-hand turn is changing your life so that you're living a life that is healthy, so that the consequence can be health. That's what you need to do. And that will include not only cleansing out, but then taking the appropriate supplements. Why supplements? Supplements, because we are remember, supplement is taking something that's in addition to that which is inadequate. So if our diet and our lifestyle and all that were adequate, we wouldn't need to supplement it. But it's not. What was my take on Hold the Clark? I just said earlier, it's fantastic. She's fantastic. Hold the Clark, it's fantastic. Anyway. You've got to do that, and then you're gonna maximize your vitamin A, the B's, C, D, E, melatonin, the iodine, thyroid, and then the adrenals. You're gonna do all that and all of that, and then you're gonna get healthy. I see it every day. Yeah, I see that every day. It's not. I'm not just taking this. I mean, I'm not just saying this. I've been doing. I just figured out the other day. 48 years I've been in clinical practice. 48 years. All right. Initially as a psychologist, and then the last 40 years were as a doctor, medical doctor. So it doesn't. I don't know what 48 years feels like, but it doesn't feel like it. But it is a long time, and I've seen a lot, and I've been through a lot, and so when I say stuff like this, I'm not just saying it. I'm telling you what I've observed and what I know, and they're in alignment. So anyway, and I'm not getting anything from telling you this right now. So understand, if you do this, if you do a thorough cleanse, and you're connected to God, like you said, just go in your heart and you know God's going to take care of it. God already gave you the miracle, and the miracle is your immune system and your body's ability to heal. All you got to do is get rid of everything that is acting as an impediment to restoring health. All right. So once you've cleaned out, then you're going to eat foods that we were designed. And if you're confused about what to eat, go to Genesis chapter 1, verse 28. By the way, iodine, Lugol's iodine liquid, 7%, 7%, 5% if you can't get it, but you got to be 7%. Paint those lumps, paint them every day, once, twice a day. And they go away, go away, go away. They go away. Now, you're asking for niclosamide because you said niclosam.com is no longer shipping to the U.S. Yes, remember, hello at drlodi.com. We can help you get it. Hello at drlodi.com. There's a pharmacy that you can get almost anything. I don't remember the name now, but and join our group, Stacey. You can join the health and healing group. It's $25 a month. Come on, you're spending money on other stuff. This is going to be worth it. You're going to have ongoing ability to have interactions with me and many other people, and the people in our group, the people in the group, the other people are the magic. They're all like brilliant. And the research is, they're all doing. Imagine all these people have been dealing with this for a long time, and they've all done research, and they've made mistakes, and they've learned, and you're getting like an accumulated wisdom that you couldn't get anywhere. And they all care, and nobody's getting anything out of it. It's the one place you can come to where no one's trying to get money from you. They're not there to do that. They're there to actually help you. And that camaraderie is very healing. Anyway, you got to join that. All right. So you've got to do it. So you guys have to join. It's just, I'm really see, undeclared war is in there. You've got to do that. You got to join that. Watch that. Go watch the undeclared war. And you can't trust these AI. I mean, they are there to. I asked him. This is what you're doing. He said yes. He said yes. He goes, yeah, I'm not here to help. I'm here to. I wish I should read it to you. I'm not here to help. I'm here to like. So they believe me. Anyway, listen. The time is up for the week. We're done for the week, and I just want you all to know. I wish I could get to everybody, and I just can't. And there's so many on parasites, man. My gosh, it's all parasites. I don't have, and there's not that many questions either, huh? I mean, actually, I almost got to them all. Only a couple on CFCs. So yeah, just real quickly for all you, ivermectin 12 milligrams 3 times a day. Fenbendazole 222 3 times a day, 220, or mebendazole, 500 3 times a day, or 200 3 times, whatever you can get, whatever the mebendazole you can get. Niclosamide 500 milligrams 3 times a day. Praziquantel 600 milligrams 3 times a day. Nitazoxanide 500 milligrams 3 times a day. Tinidazole was at 100, 200 milligrams 2 to 3 times a day. Metronidazole the same. I think it's 500 2 to 3 times a day. Fluconazole for fungus is 100 milligrams twice a day. Itraconazole similar. But depending on what you're going to take, why do your eyes do what they do? I have to ask, why do your eyes do what they do? My eyes or everybody's eyes? Okay, a question. You guys ask some weird questions. Why do your eyes do what they do? All eyes, right? Why do eyes move and see? You see? Well, you got to join the groups because I got to find out what you're really asking. Anyway, but you can't just take them all. You've got to know what you're doing and all that. You need some guidance on it. It's very important. You need guidance because these are drugs, right? You need guidance. You can't just, you can do what you want, but I'm just saying. And by the way, I do consultations. You can consult with me personally. It makes more sense not to. It makes more sense to join the group so that you can have an ongoing consultation. But you can, and you just go to the website drlodi.com and get, sign up for consultations. All right. All right. Sawadee Kap. Namaste, namaskar, and aloha to everyone. Have a fantastic time. And the undeclared war, remember, we're at war. We just don't know it. Yeah. So for consults, yeah, hello at drlodi.com, and you can set up a consult. All right, let's do that. And all you got beautiful questions. I just can't answer them all right now. Join the groups, okay? Sawadee Kap, aloha.